Hi and welcome. This is lesson number 2, so welcome back. Today we're going to be talking about breathing and posture, both of which are utterly crucial. Remembering from the first lesson, don't try, because trying only adds stress and tension to things. We don't need to do that. And don't edit. Don't criticize yourself. Allow it to be, observe it, listen to it, notice it, feel it, but don't say, oh, that was terrible. Oh my goodness, I'll never be able to sing. All that stuff. It's completely irrelevant. Okay, so down to breathing. Oh, also, a lot of this stuff will be repeated because you never leave the basics behind. Okay, now with breathing, it's posture. Posture is so incredibly important to breathing. If you don't stand right or sit right, then it's not going to work. If you do that, then your lungs are all crushed and you're never going to be able to do that. Or if you do that, it's never going to work. Same as if you do that, it's never going to work. So it's about relaxing and relaxing into the best body position that you can manage. If, as you learn to breathe more deeply and thoroughly, there is a chance that you might start to feel a little dizzy until you get used to it. If you feel dizzy, sit down. Just sit down. We don't want you falling down. Okay, so we are, as you know from the singing sessions that we've done in person, we always do a warm-up. And we always start with a physical warm-up because it's important to get your body realigned and warm so that, it moves in the right way. It's your body is your instrument. And so when you start, just check in with your body, see how it's going. If there's anything that's really uncomfortable, see if you can make it better. And if you're doing this because it's been a tough day and you're really a bit tense, then work on relaxing your shoulders. Okay, now when you want to move your body, then the things that we do are things like the hip movements where you're keeping your shoulders nice and still, or as still as you can manage it, and moving your hips around, or keeping your hips nice and still and moving your shoulders around. That's just to get independent movement and to know where your body is. You can also do a snake, which is just absolutely brilliant. So you put your feet below your shoulders and you move your knees forward and then your hips forward, then your chest forward as your knees go back and then your chest goes back. And so you end up with an undulation going through your body. And it's really awkward, and don't do it in front of a mirror. You'll never do it again. But it's very good for your body just because it moves things that you might not otherwise be moving. Or you can do it sideways. It doesn't matter. So there's that. And the head stuff of moving your head and down and back and from side to side, things like that. We will, and the shoulders where you scrunch it up and drop them down, or you roll them back, or you roll them forward, or you roll them independently. Any of those, very good. Somewhere else on the website, there will be a stack of exercises for you to do. Now, for the posture, when you're standing, what you want, this is going to be tricky, I hope I'm doing it, is your ear needs to be above your shoulder. Your shoulder needs to be above your hip. Your hip needs to be above your ankle. You can't see my hips and ankle, but it doesn't matter. They're there and they're in alignment. Okay, so it needs, if you're doing that, it's wrong. If you're doing that, oh, that's so wrong. So it's just so that you're nice and straight. And another thing you can do is imagine that you're being suspended by a wire from your head, and you can just pivot, or you can pivot from where's there, so that it's all just nicely balanced. Okay. Then breathing. We want easy breathing, and we should be able to do it by now, but we try and we mess it up. Breathing gives us power when we're singing, gives us control when we're singing, gives us an increased range. If you haven't got any breath, you can't sing up high, you can't sing down low. It gives projection, because projection isn't only about pushing your voice out, it's about letting it flow out on the air. It's about other things as well, but that's in it there. It gives us general ease in being able to sing. Now, it needs to be a relaxed exercise, breathing in and breathing out. And so the inhalation is your setup. So if you do inhalation in a panic, if you do inhalation with lethargy, if you panic, you're going to tighten everything. If you go, then all this is going to be tight, and then you're going to sing tightly. If it's like that, you're not going to be able to get much air in, you're not going to be able to get much air out, you're not going to get out much voice. So it's about relaxed and allowing the air to just fall in and then flow out with the exhalation, and then fall in and flow out quietly, easily, and everything open. Now, when you're breathing, it's important not to engage your shoulders. Your shoulders aren't part of your breathing. Here is, but your shoulders aren't. You don't go, because your lungs aren't here. Your lungs are huge, and they go from about here down to, well, the bottom of your ribs. And so that's I probably can't see. Really, you can't see at all. I did see somebody demonstrating it by jumping, but I'm not doing that. So it's a case of they are very big, but they are not up here. So we want expansion here and out and at the back, but not here. So one way to be aware of whether you're raising your shoulders or not, apart from looking in the mirror and things like that, is if you put your arms out. If you're nice and straight and you put your arms out, and if you are breathing up here, then your arms will go up like that. We don't want that. We want now in me, that's a lot less breathy, if nothing else, than trying to breathe up here, because it's all tense and tight. Okay. So just practice. I know it sounds weird, but just practice being relaxed and just letting the air in and letting the air out. And you'll notice if you open everything up, then you will you will find that when you open your mouth, you do not when you're singing, do not breathe through your nose. You're never going to get enough air. And in fact, what we want is an open mouth and an open nose and an open throat and an open chest, and so that it just flows in easily. Okay, we need to relax and open everything. So you've got an open nose, an open mouth, open throat, open chest. Oh, and another way of getting your chest nice and open is having good posture. If you put your arms up, that raises your chest, and then when you put your arms down, you leave your chest up. And that gives you heaps of room below your ribs for your lungs and your diaphragm and all that support mechanism. Okay, now I watched Pavarotti last night, and he was singing in front of, squillions of people. And he was taking a breath, and in taking the breath, all he did, when he took his breath, his arms flopped. Just from the movement of his lungs, he was so relaxed, his arms just flopped, which is extraordinary. He most of us hold ourselves a bit, but he didn't. He's just there with floppy arms. Excellent. Okay, so what we need to do is relax everything. We need to relax our faces and breathe as we're relaxing our face. Relax our ears and breathe. And our jaw and breathe. And our tongue and breathe. And our throat, front, and our neck at the back, and breathe, and our shoulders, and breathe, and our arms, and breathe, and our ribs, and breathe, and our abs, and breathe. Stay with that. Just stay relaxed and stay breathing and feel it flowing in and letting it go out. Then relaxing and having it come in, and then it flows out. And you'll notice with your mouth open, your nose open, your throat open, there's this tunnel that just goes from here straight down to your belly and back out again. There is nothing in the road of this tunnel. It's just free flowing. And that's what we want. We want that tunnel just to flow. Okay. Now, some troubleshooting. If you have tightness in your throat, then use a straw to breathe through. Not a really narrow straw, but a fairly wide-ish straw. Or you can just do it with pursed lips. You don't need the straw. The straw just sort of helps you get around it. So you just... Because if you do that, you cannot be engaging other muscles that you might be habitually recruiting for the effort of breathing. So I think we'll call it quits at that for our posture and breathing for the moment. We will address it again and again and again and again, but later. But that's a primer for the basics that we need to do. I'll leave you go at that. You take care. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.